This is the Tempest Universe, man. Hold on to your ass. You're in for a hell of a ride.
The first episode of the Tempest Universe is here. And I've been talking about this for a while. Hi, my name is Manny. I am the former. Is it really the former? I guess not, because it's an archive. So I am the archived host of UFO Buster Radio. And I decided that it's time to move over. Just close down UFO Buster Radio and start brand new with the Tempest Universe. So why the Tempest Universe? It's simple. The universe is stormy. It's dark, it's cloudy. It's got problems. It does. And as much as you want to sit around and feel gloom and doom in your own, microcosm of a life, the fact is that if you expand that just a little wider, your neighbor's life's pretty fucked up too. You keep going, you add more and more people till you engulf the entire planet, the solar system, the galaxy, a few other galaxies, and finally you end up with the entire universe. Then you realize that nothing is straightforward. There are no straight shooters in the universe. It is dark, it is twisted. And while we may gaze at the stars and be in awe at its beauty and all the things that are out there, every one of those damn things are ready to kill you and end your life permanently. It's just crazy. After about maybe 4 to 5 years of doing UFO Buster Radio, I realized that the topic itself, UFO, aliens, space, it's a lot wider because it has to really contain part of what makes us human as well, and why we as human beings are so just drawn to this topic. Why do we need to know that there are others out there besides us waiting for us to contact them or discover them? Why do we need to believe that they're here already? That there's some species, good, bad, or indifferent, though many people say benevolent. I don't believe that shit. Here already. That they've made deals with government, especially the United States, in order to experiment on livestock and people in exchange for technology. Which is a really fucked up story, to be honest. It almost sucks entirely because if you look at technology from the point that, people have conspiracies that we were given technology in exchange for some booty holes, when you look at that and then you look at technology around the globe, it sounds like a lot of people got technology. It wasn't just the U.S., so did everyone make the same fucking deal? Did someone do a dirty deal where we double-crossed and that technology was just given to every Tom, Dick, and Harry that had a government in place that was known as a superpower? Some strange shit, right? You guys have been following UFO stories and things like that. You know about Professor Chaim out in Israel, government official, in his late 80s, publishing a book. Half of it about the great work he did in government. The other half is about UFOs, aliens, pointing fingers, like he's literally pointing his arthritic finger, decrepit, dangly finger at people, saying that, hey, it was the U.S., man. They made these damn deals. They let their people get probed, abducted, and so forth. Is that something we believe? Is that something that we can sink our teeth into and turn around and say to Donald Trump or Joe Biden, hey, fucker, what do you think about this? They won't answer. They don't give two shits about stuff like that. They don't give a damn. They don't want to hear that nonsense. Or maybe they can't answer. But it's an argument that it's getting pretty tiring, I think. The argument that the president doesn't know shit. that the president can't do shit and that he's on need to know. But we're on need to know too. We're the blue collar folks of the world, not just America, of the world. We need to know. We need to know what the hell's going on. These are some of the things that the Tempest universe is going to explore going forward, on top of weird fucking news. You have a Tempest life. You lead a Tempest life. You know that shit is stormy. You know it's just out of control. It's not cool sometimes. We're going to explore the human condition too, as far as the Tempest universe goes, because people do a lot of weird shit out there. Let's be honest. So we'll throw in a weird ass story once in a while. But yeah, the focus really is going to be continuing in UFOs and aliens and space and where all that's going. On Monday, we'll cover the story about this 180-day clock that got started when Trump signed that last stimulus bill. Yeah, 180 days for the United States government, the Pentagon Task Force on UAPs/UFOs, to give up the goods, give up the report. I know, as well as you know, that report's already been fucking written. They've already written that report. It's done deal. Hell, they're probably taking a report that they put together months ago, and they're just gonna, dress it up a little, add maybe a paragraph or two for some conclusion to drive us batshit crazy, wondering what the hell they meant. And then they're going to give that to us, to the public. Here, there you go. Consume this. And it'll be like halfway redacted. Like half the shit's going to be all covered in black ink, and we're not going to know what the hell they're trying to say. We're not going to know any dates, no names, nothing. This is what you are going to be receiving from the government. By the way, that's snoring. It's not me. I'm not sleep talking. That's Bugs the UFO hunter. Unfortunately, he also quit. He also quit UFO Buster Radio and came over to this podcast for fuck's sake. Can't get rid of him. Can't even fire him, to be honest. He's got union. He's got a UFO chasing dog union thing going on. It's not pretty. It gets really nasty. But these are the things we're going to talk about. The other thing is that I think that because we're getting this report right now, it could be filled with a lot of bullshit, a lot of information you don't want or we don't need, or disinformation for those who really want to get down to what it really can have. A lot of disinformation. But with this coming out, I think that there's a lot of stories in ufology that need to be revisited, And I believe that the fact that the Pentagon or the Department of Defense actually sort of kind of, in a way, loosely admitted that the UFOs from those three videos that initially were put out there by To the Stars Academy, because those things are out there, and there was that kind of agreement from them that these are UFOs or / UAPs. And then they went out and, enhanced their reporting for such things with their military men and women. I think that it's important that we revisit some of these stories throughout the years of people who have come out and have been delivering stories similar to Professor Chaim. Yeah. And just like other folks, other people in government who have also, in their late retirement years, have decided, and it's funny because everybody waits to get the fuck out of government before they start talking shit. But other folks who were in the same position, who have been talking smack after they get out, talking about they knew this or they knew that. The bad part is that they always call out the U.S. for some reason. I don't know what the hell that's about. Like, people always want to be talking shit. That doesn't help you. It doesn't help anybody if you just talking shit. Give us some real facts, different from the last guy, or something that we can use as solid, for the love of Pete. This one guy we're going to talk about today is Paul Schneider. Now, I covered this story back in the big old days, in the first year of UFO Buster Radio. Never revisited it because I was like, oh shit, fucking Paul Schneider, what the hell? And but I think that if you look at what happened to Bob Lazar in the last couple of years, especially with his story just reigniting, thanks to a documentary, which was not so hot, but more in part on the fact that he was actually coming out and speaking to us, the general public, rather than being pissed that he was receiving so much attention. He actually came out and spoke on it. And that was important for the story, for his story especially, for us to be able to connect with him as a human being, not as a shadowy figure who really was reluctant to talk about what happened at Area 51. But Paul Schneider, Paul Schneider's story is batshit crazy. It was bananas. It was just out of this world. But he didn't, unfortunately, he wasn't able to get away like Bob Lazar. He met an untimely demise. And maybe a timely demise as some people may say during that time. One of the things that I like to do in between stories and things like that is play a little bit of music. So if you're new and you didn't come over from UFO Buster Radio, guess what? I'm going to introduce you to this. The music is always a little crazy sometimes. It's off in its own world, but here's a little taste of it just in case you wanted to know. And as soon as this is done, we'll go into the Paul Schneider story, and we'll even hear from the man himself.
Now that I'm looking back, I can see all the signs I tried to fill in the cracks that were spread in my mind, but I was all out of hope, lost in an endless maze. The emptiness had unfolded just like a void, but you broke
Phil Schneider was he met his untimely death in 1996, January of 1996, and he actually spent a very short time in 1995 talking about what happened at Dulce, New Mexico, especially not just that, but just everything he saw, everything he did, and people were amazed. Unfortunately for him, there wasn't a whole lot of evidence other than a real fucked up body, because he had he had some scarring. He had a lot of shit going on that we'll talk about later, but he might even mention it in this clip. There's a clip from 1995 of a speaking engagement, or quote unquote bunny ears lecture that Phil Schneider had on the topic of what was going on at Dulce, New Mexico. And how do you get so much detail? How do you get? I mean, fuck, I could not put a story like this together just for fuck's sake, out of the blue, pull it out my ass, and actually be able to sell it to people constantly as a real thing. But like all these guys, whether it be Travis Walton, whether it be Bob Lazar or anybody else, there's usually a segment of people who believe in UFOs who just find it hard to believe them. And then there's the diehards that just believe whatever the fuck anybody says. So let's listen to Phil and see what kind of a message he had for you that maybe needs to be looked at again today.
During the unbelievable part, I was involved in building another base inside of Dulce, New Mexico, which is Los Alamos Laboratory. It's a biological laboratory. On the southwest part of the Archuleta Mesa, we built an underground facility, a better part of 3 cubic miles hollowed out underground. Then to the southwest of that, we were in the process of the early stages of building. We drilled 4 large tunnel-like holes. Some of them ran 2.5 miles under the surface. Number of the original wells or drilling machines that were used were at the rate of up 2 miles a day. It was fairly rapid. The equipment kept coming up broken. So we wanted to go down and we wanted to send somebody down there, a human observer, or human observers in this case, to find out what was going on. Well, to our total surprise, first of all, the government knew all about it. They didn't tell anybody. When I saw Green Beret and Black Beret people encamped inside of our geologist camp, I knew something was up. The gig was up. First of all, I knew all about the alien agenda. I'll explain that in a few minutes. The large alien Greys had been encamped there for, as best as believed possible, about 400 or 500 years. Had been one of their internal bases. And we'd drilled holes right on top of it. All the stinking air, all the black sooty air came right out as soon as the first hole was sunk, and all this soot came up, and well, that's when all the hell broke loose, really, all started. Anyway, after we drilled all 4 holes, it took about 2 days to drill all 4 of them. And when you build a underground base, you drill 4 basic holes, and you build called stopes or cross-member holes across, and you use blasting equipment, special blasting equipment by the analyzation of the rock formation, and you literally blast out or tunnel out or deflagrate or melt rock out to build the large rooms that are required for this underground base. Well, in this process, I was lowered down the basket of one of these holes, and about from me to this elderly woman here in the front was sitting a 7-foot-tall alien Grey. The stench was worse than the worst garbage can you can imagine. The person or the entity was absolutely horrible. I didn't waste any time. I reached for my pistol. At that time, as an engineer, I didn't have time to carry all the Folderol of one of these big submachine guns that all the sea spray and the yellow fruit and all the outer perimeter and inner perimeter security people carried. I carried a little Walther PPK pistol with a 9-shot clip. This was in late August of 1979. Now, you got a regular suit of clothes, you got a regular clothes on, plus you're in a almost like a spacesuit environment, and you're reaching for a gun. It's not the easiest thing to do, and then to pop a clip in it and start shooting. And I killed 2 of them. Yes, they're mortal, and they do die. However, in the process, one of them did this. All I remember is that he just kind of waved his hand in front of his chest, and the next thing I know, this blue beam hit me and just literally opened me up like a fish. And burnt my fingers right off of me, and it was some form of electrical force, because the kind of like being hit by a lightning bolt burned all my toenails off of me, completely crispy crittered my left foot, burnt the shoe right off of me. All I remember is the smoking remains, and I'm still conscious, but in and out of, I didn't remember much. And there was a Green Beret that was right behind me that risked his life. In fact, he died. But he risked his life. He shoved me back in the basket and hit the button and took me up. And I wouldn't be alive talking to you today if it wasn't for him. I'm forever indebted. He lost his life. 66 Secret Service agents, Green Berets, Black Berets, crack troops lost their lives because the government, our United States government, lied, did not tell us anything about the alien threat. There's a war underneath there, and I'm talking dead serious. It's been going on since that time. Since late August of 1979, our military, the Russian military, basically the militaries of the world, have been in constant conflict with the outer space alien. The small gray, the large gray, the reptilians, the whole thing. There are 11 distinct races of aliens. 2 are benevolent. 1 had to leave here in a hurry because their world is under attack, both on the surface as well as underground there, the Pleiadians. They're familiar. Maybe some of you are familiar with that. Would some of you raise your hands who've heard of Billy Meyer and some of the, very good, about half the group. Well, Billy Meyer is one of these lucky people that they figured, well, he's kind of a simple type, we'll show him everything. Well, these are the benevolent aliens, and they've been here helping us.
Listen, it's an incredible story. And to be able to hear it, thanks to the internet, of course, you can actually go on YouTube, and you can search for that entire lecture from beginning to end, because he takes you through everything he did, which parts of the government he worked for, and every bit of detail. None of it apparently has been proven. No one has been able to prove his story, what happened back in '79, other than the fact that he had a fucked up body. He really, in the video, if you look at it on YouTube, he is missing fingers. When he talked about being filleted open like a fish because of that, whatever that thing was, electrical pulsar, plasma shot, whatever it was, from, Buck Rogers. I really expected him to, open up his shirt and let us see it. But he explained how he was, the condition he was in, the fact that his foot got jacked up, his nails were burnt off. He was not, sad to say, Phil Schneider was not in a good spot. He really wasn't. Now, Phil ended up marrying his wife, Cynthia Dreyer Simon, back in 1987. And it was, they had a lot of issues. Well, Phil had a lot of issues, to be honest. And eventually they ended up being divorced. But Phil has some serious issues. Now, if you can imagine, you're missing fingers in your hands, you've been fillet open like a fish, you got all this stuff going on. Here are the multiple concerns that Phil had. And this all might have happened post, Alien 1979 High Noon shootout with E.T. And some of the things he had was chronic lower back pain, osteoporosis, multiple sclerosis. He also had to walk around with crutches. He had a body brace, a leg brace, a bladder bag, a catheter, diapers, and a wheelchair. For fuck's sake. He also had, there was 2 fingers that were missing from his left hand. And of course he had the scar that ran from the top of his throat to below his belly button. And then he had another scar that ran from under his ribs from side to side. Like, either he had a massive surgery, which, well, today with HIPAA and everything, it'd be hard to find. But I'm sure there were records back then. Did he have a surgery that had a cut that long? And what kind of a cut is that for you to have a scar that big unless someone was doing a freaking autopsy on you? It wouldn't be something you'd walk away from. What kind of a surgery would leave a scar that long? But remember, according to Phil, that wasn't a surgery. That was the tall white alien and his magical chest blast that filleted him open. It is a crazy story. Let's be honest. It is bananas. And over the years, I've always wondered, why is it that no one has been able to find this damn base? New Mexico is not that big. And I'm sure Phil, he was there helping people build that shit. I'm sure he could find it. Or he could have found it. But, he's no longer with us anymore. But I guess if people actually took interest in his story and could have called him out just by having them point them in the right direction. But the thing is, here we have a base that is miles deep, probably. There is another part of the lecture where he talks about that there were many underground bases that were connected by monorail that could travel as fast as twice the speed of sound, miles under the surface. This is the kind of stuff that I don't think people even make that shit up. Because, here we have Elon Musk and the Boring Company building tunnels for cars. For fuck's sake, I don't think even Elon's thought about going twice the speed of sound underground. But apparently, the government does, and it did. So what the hell is going on? Where is Philip getting all these stories from? This is a story, like I said, it needs to be revisited. Someone needs to go back. And it's not even 180 days. It's probably now like 170 days. By the time this report comes out, I think people just really need to take whatever the government says. And really, you should have done this already with the 3 videos that they let go. The Go Fast, the FLIR, and the Tic Tac. You should have done that already. Taking those videos, taking a testimony from the folks in the military that saw these UFOs firsthand, and then go back. Go back to folks like these. You don't need to go all the way the fuck back to Roswell. We don't even need to go that far. There's plenty of people in the last maybe 50 years, 40 years, 30 years. Hell, 30 years is a good place to start. From 30 years to the present, there's plenty of stories from people that should be revisited thanks to this report that we're going to see, the 3 videos that came out. There is a lot here to digest. Because, at first you might have seen or read stories or videos or listened to these guys in person and thought, God, that fucking dude is crazy as fuck. But now the crazy may become the norm. So some of these things need to be revisited. I'll play one more track. Then when we come back, we'll talk about the passing of Phil Schneider. Sad, sad, sad.
Fired all of the bullets. Yeah, you shot me through the heart. Casting dice and roulette. The game was set right from the start. I don't wanna go, I don't wanna know, I don't want it anymore. I don't wanna go, coming back for more. Crashing down in the rain, all things are burning up in flames. We're going under, bang bang like thunder, bang bang like thunder. Crashing down in the rain, our love will never be the same. We're going under, bang bang like thunder, bang bang like thunder. Yeah, the air's getting thinner, higher than high we go. A game with no winners, we keep pushing more and more. I don't wanna go, I don't wanna know, I don't want it anymore. I don't wanna go, don't wanna know, but I keep coming back for more. Crashing down in the rain, all things are burning up in flames. We're going under, bang bang like thunder, bang bang like thunder. Crashing down in the rain, our love will never be the same. We're going under, bang bang like thunder, bang bang like thunder. Yeah, the air's getting thinner, higher than high we go. A game with no winners, we keep pushing more and more. Crashing down in an aeroplane, all things are burning up in flames. We're going under, bang bang like thunder, bang bang like thunder. Crashing down in an aeroplane, our love will never be the same. We're going under, bang bang like thunder, bang bang like thunder.
As Phil Schneider apparently knew or had a sense that his life was going to be cut short, to be honest. And according to some of the information I found, he used to carry a 9mm handgun that he borrowed from a friend to protect himself, and he often told people that if he ever were to commit suicide, it was because someone murdered him. It's not because he committed suicide. Isn't that a strange way to live? A strange place to be. And why would someone that's making up a story, especially one that really, I'm sure when it first came out, people thought it was far-fetched. Why would anyone who would make a crazy-ass story like that, why would they think that their life was on the line? I'm sure you could say that that's just because he was trying to sell it. He was trying to sell his story. He gave his last lecture in Denver, Colorado, 2 months before he passed away. On January 17, 1996, he was found dead in his Wilsonville, Oregon apartment. And apparently he was dead for several days, by the time they found him. Well, that's not unusual, right? That happens a lot. Sadly enough, especially with the elderly. And Phil wasn't exactly in the best of shape. So, yeah, I could see something like that happening. But his body was found in a very strange position. It's just weird. And you guys can try this. Try this at home. Normally they say don't try this at home. But I'm saying, go ahead and try this at home. This is how he was. His feet were tucked under the bed, So go ahead. Take the time now. I sorry, put me on speakerphone. We want to make sure you get this right. I'm putting the blueprint for you for the Phil Schneider position. I think it's the position he was found. So his feet were tucked under the bed. His head was in a wheelchair seat at an unusual angle, and the rest of his body was on the floor. Huh. That's crazy. Why would his feet be under the bed, his head on the wheelchair, and his body slumped on the floor? Huh. Now, what people were saying in the medical profession, of course, initially was that he had a heart attack. Later on, they found impressions around his neck the width of his catheter tube. And so it led people to believe that his death was actually probably foul play in the form of strangulation. That is just some wild stuff. Well, why would you kill someone whose story is out of this world? Just crazy. There's a testimony here from his ex-wife at the time, Cynthia Schneider Dreyer. She said Philip had missing fingers on his left hand and limited motion in his shoulders. We already know he has some crazy-ass health issues. I believe that it was physically impossible for Philip to have held a rubber hose in his left hand, because he's missing 2 fingers, with missing fingers, and then wrapped the hose 3 times with shoulders that had limited motion. In order to end up with his body the way it was, he had to sit on the edge of his bed, wrap the hose around his neck, slowly and painfully strangle to death, and have fallen headfirst into a wheelchair. Isn't that crazy? Now, here's the other thing that was kind of weird also. There was blood found at the scene. There was blood found at the floor near the wheelchair where his head was slumped into, but there was no blood on the wheelchair at all. As a matter of fact, Phil Schneider had no wounds. That blood was not his. And there was no suicide note as well. The testimony from a longtime friend, Mark Rufiner, he said this, that he saw Philip the weekend of January the 6th and 7th, 1996. They were planning to buy some land together in Colorado around the time that he was out there doing his shtick. He said they were excited about going over to hire help, and apparently Phil Schneider wanted to hire his friend in order to write a book about his knowledge on UFOs and aliens and the one world government and black budgets, right? And we know plenty of people today that talk about black budgets in their own lectures and presentations and videos. Oh my. He says he didn't feel that he committed suicide. There really wasn't anything to look for. He had so many things to look forward to. Got a book, buying property, all these kind of things. His ex-wife said that on January 17th, she received a call from Philip. Well, I'm sorry. She received a call saying Philip was dead. Not a call from Philip, because that would end up on one of those cable channels. And apparently, he had died a week before his body was discovered. The time frame places Schneider's death around the time that another person that was at the time doing the lecture circuit talking about MK Ultra. Talking about MK Ultra, Carla Turner died on January the 10th, 1996 as well. Some people think that these 2 deaths are connected in some way. But again, these are stories that, with the current conversation reaching into here in the United States, reaching into Congress to the point where we need to get a special report because they want to know more, that these stories probably need to be revisited now because there's something to them. Now, it is very possible that a base, especially an underground base in Dulce, New Mexico, may be abandoned now. There might not be shit going on there, but is it still there? Is there a way for that base to be located? That's the question. That is the question. With technology the way it is today, with private enterprise having so much access and so many key personnel that could leverage this, technology in order to find something like an underground base, it'd be hard pressed to believe that no one has interest in finding the Dulce, New Mexico underground bases. But then again, we also know that many billionaires right now have their sights in space, Mars, the moon, and beyond. This is the article today. Like I said, take a look at YouTube, even just the internet search, so that you can see the entire interview or the entire lecture that Phil Schneider was giving back in '95. His demeanor says it all, man. He doesn't look like someone who's depressed, who is forcing himself to give a lecture to talk about these things. The guy was straightforward. He seemed really preppy to me. Even though he's missing fingers, he was good to go. Cracked a couple of jokes, but he had a message, and it was clear. And he wanted the people to know that their government was not on their side. That their government has sold them to Greys and other aliens in exchange for things like technology. He wasn't a happy camper in that respect, but otherwise, his demeanor looked just fine. This is Manny, checking out from the Tempest universe. I'll be back on Monday, and then we'll talk about other current UFO news that may or may not have some bearing on this story, but we'll dive into a little more into that 180-day clock that many people are talking about. With that, I bid you adieu, ciao, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye.